what classes will your teen take in high school? And what classes does he actually need to take to graduate on time? When we're thinking about next semester, when your teen is putting that schedule, that plan together, we want your teen to take classes that he wants to take, that he's going to find fun, but we also want your teen to take classes that he has to take to meet those graduation requirements. Now, before we talk about that, before we figure out, okay, what are all those graduation requirements? What are those things that your child needs to take, classes or otherwise? We've got to make sure we know what those otherwise things are. So let me know, mamas, did you know that there are class requirements for graduation and other things? And I want to know what those other things are for your child's school. And if there's other requirements, let me know. Is it on the plan for next semester? Now, mamas, if you are new to this channel, maybe you are about to be a first-time high school parent, do know there are lots of things for us to talk about. So I want to tell you that this course catalog that I still have from when I was in high school is essentially going to become your teen's Bible. All right, the thing that your teen needs to know inside and out to successfully meet all of these high school graduation requirements. So we talk classes, but we also need to talk about some other things that you may not be aware of and maybe your teen isn't planning for yet when choosing those classes, let alone thinking about high school overall. So example number one, there is a high school in Colorado that students have to read 2,000 pages before graduation, and that reading happens outside of the classroom. All right, they read, they bring the books into school, the teachers quiz them, the teachers have to sign off that, okay, you actually read this book, these pages count towards this 2,000 page minimum. Now, as to how it gets broken down, I believe the kind of goal, the expectation is 500 pages a year, but again, might depend on which school, how many pages, all of those specifics. Number two, something else that might be happening at your teen's high school that might be a graduation requirement is the number of volunteer hours. All right, there is an organization called Habitat for Humanity that you're probably familiar with, but what you might not know is that there's a school in Kansas that has such a successful Habitat for Humanity program that they now have a construction program that builds a house every year that they're now able to sell to someone in the community and keep that program funded. But it always comes back to volunteer hours. And there's reasons for these graduation requirements, right? Whether we're talking about reading, whether we're talking about volunteering, and there are reasons that we want your teen to meet them, not just because you have to have your teen meet these to graduate, not only because it's a requirement, but there are so many benefits to your teen directly. But that's not what we're here to talk about, okay? So other than reading, volunteering, maybe there's just plain old extracurricular requirements. Maybe the high school wants your teen to be involved in so many sports, so many clubs. Might go even further as, okay, 1 year is good enough, or have to attend 3 meetings, whatever it might be. We want your teen to know, okay, what are those extracurricular requirements? Also, do know, maybe your child has to take the ACT, the SAT. A lot of high schools are requiring some type of test before teens can graduate. So what's the rule at your teen's high school? Is it the ACT? Is it the SAT? Is it no require testing? Because some schools offer it for free just to make sure teens have that ability, kind of have that access. But yet I can tell you, I've worked with students in Colorado again that had to take the SAT, and not only had to take the SAT, had to get certain scores on those sections. And the student I'm thinking of, he did really well in math, and yet he really struggled with the reading and the writing, the English part, and was in danger of not graduating until we worked together. As to like Illinois, where I just used to live, they were all SAT. Now the schools have switched to ACT. So that's another thing to be aware of. Not only what test, what scores, which grade level to take these tests, like all of that stuff feeds into your teens thinking about next semester, thinking about how do I graduate high school on time. And the very last thing to mention before we jump over to classes, do know that, again, a student I've worked with, a teen that actually just graduated from the Love to Learn Study Skills program, had to complete an internship, part of his school's kind of real world experience. They wanted their students to either do an internship junior or senior year. So ideally, he's doing something that he could do after graduation, maybe continue that internship, say through the summer, maybe even in college, let alone maybe a place of employment right after high school, depending on the type of internship. But again, if your teen doesn't know, okay, this is something I need to do, this is a requirement for my high school, well, it might not make it into the schedule for next semester, let alone into your teen's plan for this whole high school thing. All right, this might sound like a lot, mamas. Like, let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how familiar this whole idea of being aware of high school graduation requirements is. Let me know how much thought has your teen really given to choosing classes in high school. And do know, if we haven't met, I'm Jessyka Coulter, CEO and founder of Ace Cookie Tutoring. I am a study skills tutor. And if you found this video helpful so far, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe, because there are so many videos on the channel all about helping your teen love to learn, all about helping your teen learn study skills. Because these requirements we're talking about, they are going to require your teen to know study skills, to know how he learns, how she learns, in order to actually meet these requirements. So here to help, be sure to stick around, because we have just scratched the surface on the idea of high school graduation requirements, let alone how study skills fit in. So, ready to talk about classes? If you are, say yes down below. And I want to know, all right, where are we at with this whole high school graduation requirement thing? Let me know if the plan has been made, because I want you mamas, and really we want your teens, to plan out all 4 years of high school. All right, is it going to be possible to be really nitpicky and know exactly I'm taking algebra 1, freshman year, I'm going to do that art elective sophomore year, am I going to finish all my science requirements by junior year? Maybe, maybe not, but yet that's a huge question we've got to ask. We now know, okay, maybe there's stuff outside the classroom that has to happen. Maybe we've got to figure out, okay, am I going to do my volunteer hours sophomore year? Is your teen going to, try out for a sport fall semester of freshman year? We really want to figure out, okay, what's the idea for what's happening when? We really want to actually write it all out, plan it all out for all 4 years as much as we possibly can. Because you and I both know freshman year, a lot different than senior years. So mamas, we know your teen is going to be a little more relaxed freshman year. Yeah, it's a new school. Yeah, it's new people, new teachers, but at the same level, excuse me, it's more relaxed when it comes to what are the expectations of classes. We're probably not taking any honors, AP, those kind of classes freshman year. Probably no dual enrollment for sure, let alone, like I said, AP. But come senior year, your teen's going to be juggling college applications, possibly more ACT, SAT testing. Your teen's going to be thinking about the whole graduation thing, the whole next steps thing. Like, classes are going to, again, be at a different level, because we've had how many ever years of science, how many ever years of math. And that means when your teen is figuring out, okay, those graduation requirements, because again, this kind of course catalog, if you want to call it, this is just called a course description for my school, but literally on the pages at the very top says graduation requirements. So definitely do know that your teen has to actually know, what am I doing? What are those requirements to graduate? And figure out, okay, do I really want to be taking 2 AP classes and an upper level science? Or do I want to maybe balance out some tougher classes, an easier elective that semester. I mean, does your teen want to be a senior in like a lower level fun class with freshmen? Maybe, maybe not, but at the same time, it can be so nice to have that breather mixed in. Like one of my students right now, she's in like an AP class, 2 or 3 honors classes, and it's a lot. And she's struggling because we haven't worked on study skills all year. Like she's a sophomore and we just started working together 2 weeks ago. So not even a month before the school year is over. And that's rough, very rough. So definitely do know, mamas, an awesome resource other than this course catalog for you and your teen is that high school counselor. So if your child has not talked to his high school counselor as to graduation requirements, hasn't really figured out, okay, what are those classes I have to take next semester, let alone what are the classes I'm going to be taking throughout all of high school, we want your teen to get that figured out sooner rather than later. I want your kid thinking about schedules all summer. Like if we can get it figured out now, as much as possible for upcoming semester, let alone the whole first year of high school, or let alone whatever, year of high school your teen will be in next year, we want to kind of lower that stress. We want to go, okay, I got the plan. And then even better, if your child can figure out the plan for the all 4 years of high school, because, okay, I don't have to worry about, oops, it's senior year, and I don't really have time on my schedule to take this class, or oops, I wanted to apply to this college, or I wanted to do this particular thing in school, but that meant I had to do this prerequisite a year ago, or oops, I don't have time to play the sport I want to because I'm now a senior or a junior, and that means I have to be in varsity, and maybe I really play at the JV level. So again, what does your teen need to do? What does your teen want to do? Because I gotta tell you, there are things that your teen has to do in high school, and then there's also things we want your teen to do in high school just for the sake of doing them, because it's something your teen enjoys. But again, has to be time for both, which comes into awesome planning, which is all about study skills like organization and time management. So if I was to sum this all up, mamas, if I was to kind of give you a big takeaway here, things I really want you and your teen to understand is, one, there are graduation requirements. Doesn't matter where in the world you are. Doesn't matter if we're talking middle school, high school, or college. We're focusing all about high school graduation requirements in this video. But we've got to know what those requirements are. And then we've got to have an idea of when those are going to be satisfied. Now, we want your child to graduate high school on time. Is it possible to graduate early? Again, depends on the school, depends on your teen, depends on all those things that I don't know about, that you and your teen can find out, and hopefully your teen and his high school counselor have talked. But we've got to figure out, what are those graduation requirements? When are they being met? What classes are being taken? What semester? So definitely, if your teen has not sat down and figured out, when am I accomplishing which requirement, we've got to do that much sooner than later. So thank you so much for listening in. If you are ready for your teen to learn study skills, if you want some help with your team getting ready for high school, planning these next 4 years, making sure, okay, we are going to graduate on time, then book a free consultation. Link is down below.